Among those opposing Massachusetts ballot question 1, which would expand the state's right to repair law, is the Coalition for Safe and Secure Data. Conor Yunits, who is representing that coalition, is urging a no vote on question 1. And I spoke with him recently to find out why he's against it.
Well, first, because it's not a right to repair bill. And we need to be very clear about that. Massachusetts already has right to repair. It has been law here for 7 years since Governor Patrick signed legislation in 2013. So we already have right to repair in Massachusetts. It ensures that people can get their cars fixed wherever they want. It ensures that independent local mechanics can get access to all the same information that is dealer repair shops, and ensures they have everything they need to diagnose and repair a vehicle. It also, despite what the yes side will say, it also covers telematics. It specifically says, has an entire paragraph on telematics, and it specifically says that any telematics information necessary to diagnose and repair a vehicle that is provided to dealer repair shops must be made available to local repair shops. It does, however, exclude certain types of telematics information like real-time location data that would never be necessary to diagnose or repair a car, but would create a number of risks.
Those who in favor of the question say, I've been taking my car to the same mechanic, for the last 10, 20 years or whatever. We built up a rapport, I trust him, and so forth. You're saying that that will continue under right to repair. And what about that question of telematics, though? Isn't there some concern there in terms of security and hackers? Will it be an equal playing field?
Okay, so there are a couple different questions there. Number one, yes, it will continue. You will be able to continue to go to your local repair shop, and they will continue to have everything they need, access to everything they need to diagnose and repair a car. And I do think it's worth noting, there are certainly issues that come up when people are trying to get their car fixed, right? And oftentimes there is an issue they can't get a code, the aftermarket part might not work correctly. Those are all real issues. They all are covered under the existing law. And none of those issues will change if question 1 passes, because question 1 only deals with this slice of information called telematics. And essentially what that means is any vehicle being transmitted wirelessly off your car. Now, when the question 1 folks are going around the state, they're saying, well, pretty soon telematics will be the only way that diagnostic information gets to your car. That is blatantly false. The OBD ports that you plug a car into when you go into the shop, those are required by federal law and they're required by California law. Those are not going away. They are required by law. And again, the current law requires that all information necessary to diagnose and repair a car, even if it's shared wirelessly, must be made available to local repair shops. That won't change. But as you mentioned, there is significant risk about with this telematics data. Right now, the way it works is it all depends on the different manufacturers. They're all at different levels of even sending that information, let alone using that information. But that information goes to manufacturer servers. It goes through secure networks. It's encrypted, and it is never connected directly to the vehicle on the other side. So it's basically goes from the car to the manufacturer secure server. What question 1 would do is require it to go to it can still go to the manufacturer secure server, but it also must go directly to an open platform. It must directly go to an app that anyone in Massachusetts can get. When you think about how many different pathways to a car directly that creates, it creates enormous risk. And look, nothing is foolproof. We know that there are data breaches and there are hacks constantly, and this is something that the automotive industry is keenly aware of. They spend billions of dollars, automakers do, to make their systems more secure because it's a huge competitive risk for them if they get hacked. So they're doing everything they can to protect the data. However, if this passes, automakers are explicitly prohibited from being in charge of who gets access to this information. It expressly says that automakers can have nothing to do with it. So who is going to guard this platform? Who's going to build it? Who's going to maintain it? Who is going to ensure that it is protected and updated and constantly on guard against threats? The yes folks will say, no, the automakers have to build it and ensure it's secure. That is not what the law says. The law that they wrote expressly says that automakers can have nothing to do with it.
Conor, what about the ads we're seeing on television concerning the possibility of hackers getting in and security breaches and personal safety issues? Are these scare tactics or are they legitimate cybersecurity concerns?
They're legitimate concerns. They are based on testimony. The only other place where anything like this has been proposed was in California. a few years ago. It was defeated primarily because of concerns by domestic violence and sexual abuse prevention advocates who said that any increase in the availability of real-time location data could be used for evil purposes. It was opposed by the NAACP, who were concerned about redlining. There were a number of issues that were raised by that bill. And the question one folks will say, no, that's a different bill. It's totally unrealistic. And our bill doesn't include location data. But the fact is that the current law excludes location data. And they wrote question one, and it doesn't exclude location data. And frankly, their funder, their chief funder, the Auto Care Association, was going around the country all last year showing a mock-up what they want this app to look like. And it included location data, it included behavior data, it included real-time maps. So what they say about question one and what they're actually telling their customers as they go around the state are two very different things.
Now, some of the opponents of question one, those on your side, say this is just an attempt by big automakers to create a monopoly in terms of repairing vehicles. How do you respond to that criticism?
Sure. Automakers don't compete with local repair shops. Automakers compete with each other. There are franchise relationships with dealerships, but dealerships are their own small businesses. They compete with local repair shops. Frankly, all the dealerships that I've been speaking to, they don't get access to telematics information now. It's not made available to them. This is not an issue of competition and monopoly. And actually, the best argument against that is what, again, the Auto Care Association has said just in a speech about a year ago when they were launching this initiative. They said, look, automakers do not have the capacity to repair these vehicles. There are 17 times or 15 times more local repair shops than there are dealer repair shops. So it's simply not possible for any anti-competitive measure to exist. And for them to claim it will be some sort of monopoly is completely bogus.
Conor, we're running out of time, but just one quick final word in terms of those who are looking at this question, confused, scared, your final thought.
Number one, I would urge people, frankly, to talk to people that fix cars. Talk to local mechanics, talk to dealer mechanics, talk to dealerships and ask them if they get telematics information, if they use it. Talk to local mechanics and ask them their opinion, because we've talked to plenty of local mechanics who say nothing's going to change for them if question one passes. Question one is based on a faulty premise. It is not about repair. It is about data. That's what their own Ed Davis, the former police commissioner from Boston, who has been paid $70,000 to lobby for question one. He even said that to the Worcester Telegram this week. This is about big data. It's not about repair. And I urge everyone to go to safeandsecuredata.org to learn more and to vote no on question one.